Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to I Am Practically Spiritual podcast. My name is Janet Weissman, and I have been studying and teaching A Course in Miracles since 1991, and I am with
Felipe Proano. I'm more of a student of the course, but I do use it in a practical way.
so. And the name of the podcast is Practically Spiritual. I love to play with words. I also write. And the reason it's practically spiritual is because, one, it is a way to practically apply these lessons from A Course in Miracles into your life. But it's also, so many of us are, we're practically spiritual. We're not quite there. We want to be. So how can I be a little more spiritual, a little more committed and devoted to changing what is going on in my life so that it is filled with more joy and more happiness and right now much more peace. So we have a purpose for this, which, we all need to have a purpose. Of Course in Miracles tells us that we do have a purpose. And the purpose of this podcast is indeed what I pretty much just said, is for us to get more people now to discover that the joy and the peace of having a spiritual component in their lives. We need some sort of an anchor, especially in today's world. And then how to practically implement or apply these ideas into daily activities. If you are not familiar with A Course in Miracles and what it is, Felipe is going to give a little overview now of this spiritual path.
Yes, A Course in Miracles is a self-study spiritual program that focuses on psychological and spiritual mind training. It's not a cult. And it was published back in 1976. It aims to help individuals to achieve inner peace by shifting their perception from fear to love. While the book uses traditional Christian terminology, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, it is widely considered a non-denominational path. Integrates many elements of Eastern philosophy and modern psychology. The entire course is famously summarized in its introduction. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God, as is said in the introduction. This reflects the course's non-dualistic view that God and love are real. Everything else, fear, guilt, pain, and the physical world itself, is seen as an illusion created by the ego to keep us feeling separate from God.
And you may, recognize that this non-dualistic point of view appears from many teachers and also in many other spiritual paths, such as Buddhism. It is the idea that this world is an illusion. There isn't really anything real about it. So this isn't a brand new idea, as Felipe said. The book itself, it is divided into three different parts. There's a text, a workbook, and a manual for teachers. Was published back in 1976, so it's got a few years on it. But the ideas of it are even more ancient and have appeared from many, many paths and many, many teachers and philosophers. So this is old information being presented in a new way, and it might be new to you, but you will also, I'm sure, once you understand it a little bit, say, oh, I've heard that before. Where did that come from? And, we even will bring in some modern references of music and books and movies. I'm big on movies, that you will find are You will see them now in a whole different way. And one of the most spiritual movies out there is Wizard of Oz. And Wicked too, but definitely Wizard of Oz, which of course where it came from. A very, very spiritual movie. And everyone says there's no place like home. And that indeed is true. So, as I just said, there's 3 parts to A Course in Miracles. The workbook portion, which is the center portion, is divided into 365 lessons. And as I say, shockingly the same as the days of the year. So, we have a little hint that perhaps we're supposed to do 1 a day. And yes, you would be correct. We are. Many people start the lessons on the 1st of January, but it isn't necessary. It's whenever one is moved to say there's got to be a better way, which is a very important phrase in how the Course actually came about. I'm sure we'll cover it in one of our podcasts here. But when nothing else seems to be working and we figure out there's got to be something better than this, there's got to be a better way, that's the perfect day to pick up A Course in Miracles. And you can find it online. You can buy an actual book. I like books because I can highlight them better and make notes and start reading these lessons. So what we're going to do for today is we're going to go over the first 7 lessons, and not in detail. I'm just going to really read the titles, and 1 or 2 of them we'll talk a little bit more about. The first lesson says that nothing I see in this room, on this street, in this place, none of it means anything. The second lesson says that I've given everything I see in this room, out that window, on the street, in this place, all the meaning that it has for me. The third lesson is I don't understand. I don't understand anything I see in this room, on the street, out the window, in this place. The fourth lesson is that these thoughts do not mean anything, and they are like the things that I see in this room, on the street, from the window, in this place. Lesson 5 is a really good one. It says, I'm never upset for the reason I think, and I think we'll go into a little more depth with that one to be sure. And then lesson 6 is, I'm upset because I see something that is not there. And this can fold back into that word that we used a moment ago, illusions. And then lesson 7, which is a favorite lesson, is I see only the past. But one of the reasons it's a favorite lesson because it takes the 6 previous lessons and it ties them up for us in a beautiful little package and say, this is why. Because my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts and seeing only the past. That's why I don't understand anything. Nothing makes any sense. So to go back to lesson 5 for the moment, that I'm never upset for the reason I think. And I think that I'm upset because of something that is happening now. And my upset can take on many, many forms. And it can be fear, it can be worry, depression, anxiety, anger, hatred, jealousy, any number of forms that we use. And what we'll find out is all of them boil down to fear. So, because I'm actually fearful, okay, and break that down, fearful, I'm full of fear, I can't understand anything. And because I don't really understand anything, I'm upset. But I don't know the real reason that I'm upset. I think I'm upset because of what I'm seeing now in that situation or what that person has done. But the truth is, if I search my mind, I will be able to link my current upset to something that has happened in the past. What do you think, Felipe? Does that make sense?
Yep, it's very important for us to realize how like it was said at the beginning, is a mind training, and here these first lessons is very important for us to realize that what we sometimes we're trapped by the past, and how that is real, and until we don't are able to see that straight, it's difficult for us to get out of that jail per se.
Yes. Now, thank you. And in this lesson, there's a wonderful phrase, and it says, "There's no small upsets. They are equally disturbing to my peace of mind." I love that. And there's no small upsets. So whether I'm upset because, I just broke my nail and I had my manicure yesterday, or I stubbed my toe, or I saw something on television that is upsetting me, I'm equally either in peace or not. As I say in my classes, you can't be a little bit pregnant. And it's the same thing here. I'm either upset or I'm in a peaceful place within my mind. And that's where this all is going to come to. We'll find out, as Felipe said, it's a course in mind training, not a cult, simply a way for us to have better thoughts. By the way, did you know that science tells us we have 62,000 thoughts that come through our head every single day? It's an extraordinary amount of thinking that we do, and yet most of it has no meaning for us. They're just little things that roll through our head, and it's, things like when we're in the store, or things in traffic, or, oh, I have to remember to do that. We have so many thoughts. Like most Eastern philosophies and religions, we want to get to a quieter mind. And perhaps you've heard the term mindfulness. That's where we want to practice that as well. Come into a mindful space where we are aware of being in this moment, in the now moment. So, coming to lesson 7, that I see only the past, and why I said it's a favorite lesson. Because it says this idea is particularly difficult to believe at first, but it's the reason, the rationale for every preceding lesson that we've had up until this point. It's the reason why nothing you see means anything. It's the reason why you've given everything you see all the meaning that it has for you. It's the reason why you don't understand anything you see, and it's the reason why your thoughts do not mean anything, and why they're like the things you see. And it's the reason why you're never upset for the reason, the real reason you think. And it is the reason why you're upset because you see something that is not there. So see how this wonderful lesson ties up everything and gives us the answer to all of these first lessons, which, initially can sound like, what is this about? This is crazy. What have I gotten myself into? But the Course will periodically do this for us. It will give us the reason. It will make sense. And I think that's all I want to say about lesson 7 right now. But coming to some of the practicality of this course, and there's certain concepts, ideas about the Course that come through. We already mentioned about illusions. Separation is another idea that is very prominent in this course, and judgment. We also will, in times to come, we'll talk about forgiveness. But right now I just want to talk about judgment, because we have all of these thoughts, and one of the reasons we have so many thoughts is that we're constantly judging. So practically, to be practically spiritual, it would be beneficial if I can stop being so judgmental about everyone and everything. So I want you to just sort of test yourself the next time you're out in traffic, or at lunch with your friends, or dinner with your family, or at the grocery store, which is one of my favorites, be in back of that person and look at what they purchased and try not to make up a whole scenario about who they are based on this limited information that they bought. Both I don't know if I can name brand name, but those chocolate sandwich cookies and then maybe those oblong dessert things that are supposed to last past the apocalypse. See if you can not judge people based on their purchases, or see if when you're at lunch with your friends and not judge your friend who orders a very heavy caloric appetizer and then a big salad. And what are they doing? Try not to judge what other people are doing, because the truth is we don't know. And we don't really have the true ability to judge others. But yet, we are very much caught up in it. So to be practical with this, let's try just for one day or 1 hour, not to form opinions that have no foundation, because that's what judging is, truly. What about you, Felipe? How many times do you find yourself judging?
That's way too many. But going back into what you said, I think it's very important. These first 7 lessons, as it said, this is a course in mind training, and it's so important because an untrained mind, says the course, cannot accomplish anything. So here we are asked on the workbook is to do the lessons. Doesn't matter sometimes if how much you understand them, or you don't need to understand them, but you need to do them. And why they are confronting is because here what we are trying to do, and what the course is trying to do at the beginning, is to kind of undo and unlearn our set ways. And therefore, of course, some of these things are going to be confrontational. And what I can tell you, and what the course says at the beginning, don't stay too much on trying to make sense of every lesson. Just in this part, you have to trust, and the main thing is that you do them. Whether you understand them, whether you agree with them or not, is just to do them. And in this part, that's why you have to, trust. And our idea here to have this podcast is to be and walk with you, to help you and see the challenges and the resistances of it. Okay, and that's what we are here for. And these 7 lessons are very important. And our usual ways, as you said, we are so accustomed to the way we judges that we don't even question it. That's something as a default in our society, in our families, in our lives, in our jobs, in our friendships. We are entitled to judgment. And that's one thing, if anything, if I can close with this myself, is that just begin being aware of how much we judge, how much of it.
So thank you for being here. I want to leave you with, besides giving you the homework assignment of seeing how much you judge, and here's 2 things to do to help you become more spiritual, but also a little happier. Remember to breathe, deep breaths, and remember to smile. A smile is such a gift that we give to ourselves and to the rest of the world. So smile and breathe, and please be here the next time.
See you then.